So yeah, welcome to CITYJS and Halfstack at Bates. This is the first in-person event for, I don't know, like 18 months. And we are going over the half of the talks. I have here with us the CEO of Prisma and Chris Hellman. Chris, you're working at Microsoft, and you are what is your role at Microsoft?
I'm a principal program manager for developer tools.
Okay, yeah, and Chris has been with us in the previous in-person event, right?
Yeah.
Soren is your first time, right?
First time, yes.
And yeah, so Chris was in the previous event that we did in person. It was in a cinema in central London. We tried to do another event after that, and it was postponed because of COVID. And so I'm gonna ask everyone, how was your experience so far?
So I've spent a lot of time going to virtual meetups, had Prisma events, conferences, and it's just not the same. Being here in person is so much nicer, and this venue is amazing. It's outdoor, it's a cool place, and it feels safe. So I'm really happy to get back to this.
Yes, thank you very much. Chris?
I feel like I should start shaving with that thing. It's just really bizarre. Yeah, I mean, I had it in my talk this morning. It's very frustrating for a speaker to not have an audience to bounce off of. And the virtual events, like, it's great that you basically have reach, but you don't really know the reach because people come in and out. You don't even see what's going on. Most of the time they come in, have a question while you're presenting, and when they don't get the answer and you don't interrupt your talk for their question, they go away again. So with an audience like this, it's much better because you got the human touch, you got the human responses. You know actually that some people will of course go out and not be there, but it really makes you feel much more worthwhile as a presenter, and you realize that the work that you put into that talk is also more appreciated because it's something where you had to go for and had to physically be there for. It's much more challenging in terms of, like, not everybody can do it, but it's really good to see that it happens again. And I think it's also important to be very professional about it. And like in this case here, we all had our COVID tests. We have a few people walking around with their masks on, and others are basically saying like we all keep the distance. I think it's super important to keep these things safe and slowly start going on again. I think we can learn a lot about physical events, how they were before the pandemic, when they are now. I think we can do them much better now, just thinking about, like, let's not cram as many people as possible into a small room, but actually use the room much better that way. And that's something we saw here today that really worked out. All the logistics worked out well, so we're getting in an interesting space where we can ramp up the physical events again, and maybe keep the virtual ones as well, but not as the only thing, because it is a kind of like boring experience as a speaker. I might as well just record a talk, put it up on YouTube, I get the same experience.
Did you feel at any point that your health was at risk today?
Personally, no. It's a very safe event to be outdoors, and we all vaccinated and have the tests. I feel very safe in this environment. I know it's different for different people, so I agree it's very important that we make an event that feels safe, so people feel like they could come and contribute.
That's great.
I think you've achieved that.
We have a surprise. Somebody came with some frisbees. It's Dylan. Dylan, tell us a bit about how the event was and if you know how it all went.
Well, we captured the usual Halfstack magic of a very casual, fun, relaxed, creative event. We managed to do it in a very spread out way, outdoors. Just a chill beach vibe. Halfstack embraces imperfection, and the event's far from perfect, which is cool. Like, as these loud trucks and helicopters fly by and ruin your video. But I think mostly people just have been laughing all day and having fun, and just having fun seeing people in real life in 3D.
When it started to ramp down and there were less events, then people started getting really needy like people love to tell you on Twitter that you should be running your conference in a certain way and you need this and you need that. And I love that embracing the chaos that Halfstack does at times. Like, okay, our sound might not be perfect at times, that happens, let's deal with it when it happens. We're not gonna subscribe to everything, make every video available in 4K resolution and show it in the cinema for you in your local flat, because no, you could have come and seen it. So it's quite interesting how these event things became this like target for people to very much criticize event organizers over the last few years, and the pandemic showed that it's really not that easy to do an event, and a physical event at that. When you see how many of the one fascinating thing I found, that like at physical events, and I've been at many of them, there's always some timing issue, but at virtual events I've never had a single one that stuck to the agenda. There's always delays because some connectivity doesn't work or somebody hasn't had up their slides or these kind of things. There's much more delays in virtual events than in physical events, strangely enough.
What I would like to say is that today we had you, which you have been like a pioneer in working with Mozilla, and you have done quite a lot for the web and for JavaScript in general. But we had also Soren here, that he's CEO of Prisma. So if you were going to come today, but in the next events we hope to have Soren again with us, you would probably gonna be able to meet people that build like create tools, but you cannot meet them in an online event, because when you finish the talk, they just disappear. Where in an event like this, you can hang around, you can talk to them, and you can ask them questions. So I do agree that you can still have like virtual events, but you still need to have like in-person events, and we need to do something to keep them doing, because I think Halfstack and CITYJS have pioneered this time, and they have started the events that we miss so much. Is that right, Dylan?
Just gonna say that like one thing that I really appreciate about Halfstack is we don't have a speaker room. You know, we don't have a segregation between who's presenting and who's participating. We're all kind of here together informally, and if you're gonna do an online event, you kind of need to have the same experience where everyone can chat together, and without that you're missing out on the like, hey, we were just talking about this, let's talk about that in the hallway. The hallway track is where it's all at, and it's hard to replicate that online.
Yeah, and I mean, I had it before as well, when people come up like, okay, you talked about this, can you quickly show that? And you open your laptop in front of people and just do it there. Or it's like, I mean, I've got a cool new phone right now and people were playing with it, and it's the kind of stuff that normally doesn't go. It doesn't scale, but it doesn't have to. That's the fun thing. Yeah. You know, it's a small group of people that actually get excited about it. I mean, I was just disturbed that Dylan was wearing Birkenstocks. I didn't know that about him. But like, there's these little things that actually, the human connection that really work out that way. And yeah, I mean, as Dylan said as well, like there's everybody behaves nicely here, everybody is good to each other, and that's another thing where it's like, if you're physically there, then probably you also realize there's a more effort to be put into it, so people bring their best sides forward, I think, rather than just like, okay, I got 15 minutes to give my talk at that event and then I'm going back to my work. Like when I go to a physical event, I tell my company I'm not available, that's it. Yeah. Like in a virtual event, it's harder to do that because you're still at home and you're still connected.
Yes, exactly. So true.
For me, the real value of a physical event is not the talks. The talks are almost an excuse to come and meet other people. Yeah. It's the interactions, the spontaneous conversations. That's the real value, and it just doesn't work online. I mean, we've tried for the last year and a half, and we couldn't make it work. I haven't seen anybody make it really work. And spending time in person is just nice.
It's very good. Yes, I mean that's all I wanted to mention, and I want to show to the people that they shouldn't be scared to come out. They should go and try physical events. They need to be getting the precaution, like being very careful. But as an event, we did everything we could. We checked if people they were double vaccinated. Most of them they were double vaccinated. The ones that weren't, they had a negative test. But we need to adapt, and we need to try to change, and we need to still come out and try to meet people. That's what we want. And thank you very much for this. and yeah, we hope to see you again next year or March.